I'm gonna show you how we do our Toko talks, and it's right here. It's right here. This is a Twitch layout I made in the span of like what? During my training session, while I was listening, but I was also thinking of ideas of how to make like a Twitch like layout, stuff like that. And lo and behold, there it is. Lo and behold, there it is. Everybody that's a Power Ranger fan, Super Sentai fan, Kamen Rider fan, Ultraman fan, you know, anybody that likes Toku, and Toku can outreach to Power Rangers because they're literally the same thing in Super Sentai, just an Americanized version. So, with that said, Kamen Rider Saber. We're gonna be talking about some Kamen Rider Saber. Oh man. And this is a good theme to like fit it out so that we don't get potentially copyright. Kamen Rider Saber. Kamen Rider Saber. Oh man. Oh wait, chat room. Wait, where's the chat? What is there? Oh yeah, right. Kamen Rider Saber. Kamen Rider Saber. So yes, Kamen Rider Saber. So the series just ended like yesterday, right? The series just ended yesterday. Well, not technically ended. The main storyline ended for KR Saber, and now us Toku fans are just waiting in anticipation for the new Kamen Rider to come out. I think 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, and that's gonna be Kamen Rider Revice, which is like the dinosaur motif. The dinosaur motif that is in that is going to be also the 50th anniversary of KR in total, stretching from like all the way to the 1970s, with the first rider, Kamen Rider Ichigo. And yeah, there's a lot to like talk about with Kamen Rider Saber because, you know, it is the new season. It is a very flashy as fuck season. I mean, action figures, like I was so into like the style of Kamen Rider Saber that I had to get action figures of these, and I still have them laid out, and I got into the habit of ordering Kamen Rider figures or Tokusatsu Super Sentai figures out of like sheer hobbies, you know, and to like show them live on Twitch slash YouTube. But they have been time for a new shelf. Yo, definitely it needs to be time for a new shelf. Exactly. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it right here for now. But that I'm gonna have to look for IKEA just to like hang around over here, like in the back next to the halogen lamp that's behind my mic. But I'm definitely gonna make like some shelves or some rearrangements because there are some figures that are like on the top of my bed, like my amiibos, my deluxe edition of Final Fantasy VII, and there's like on top of a pillow there's the ultimate edition of Guilty Gear. So I think I should make another shelf, or like ask mom to attach a shelf for me, so that way it becomes a lot easier for me to do all this shit. But anyway. I'll take you to Anime NYC after Delta blows over. If they have good Kamen Rider stuff, hell yes, I'll be taking it. Hell yes. There are a bunch of figures. Okay, alright, that's cool. How much are they anyway? Do you remember, Dan? Or, do you remember, Dan, out of memory? Have you, like, scantily seen them, or just, like, passed through them? Friendzo dropped your boxes last time. What do you mean? No, don't worry about it. They're just kind souls. They're just letting me know. They're just letting me know of things that have happened. Don't worry about that. Those are small mistakes. We can get over them. Those are small mistakes. It just lets me know. You just gotta be careful around the room around you. Okay, alright, so talking to the chat, fun times. We gotta get to like Kamen Rider Saber. So yeah, the new Kamen Rider Saber. Oh boy. So origin story, I practically got into Kamen Rider after, like, you know, just being obsessed with Super Sentai and just watching like Japanese versions of Power Rangers, and I was just blown away of how much the level of difference that Super Sentai had compared to the American versions, which of course, you don't need to be shy about like Kamen Rider Super Sentai, you know, chats. Albeit I do love that type of stuff, but I do want to encourage more free flow talk. Maybe that's just like the tutor in me. But if you're a fan of Kamen Rider Super Sentai, don't be afraid to like jump in and say if you love like Power Rangers or Super Sentai, you know. And of course, usual chat within chats, you know. I don't mind. God, why am I stretchy all of a sudden? Why am I stretchy all of a sudden? But anyway. Yeah, so I got into Kamen Rider around like the Build era, Kamen Rider Build, which is like the red and yellow rider that came around Uchu Sentai Kyurenja. And yeah, I was like super down with Super Sentai. I didn't know that like a kids show can be not only, you know, funny and like quirky and hokey, but also maintain the level of seriousness, which is something that like I missed from the Power Rangers Time Force era. And Time Force era, or SPD to an extent, was like really goats of goat shit, you know, like the greatest of all time, because what I said in the Power Rangers, you know, tier list that I made long ago, it's still up on the Khaiza channel, that, you know, I ranked Time Force and SPD for very obvious reasons. Character and development, not only hokiness, but also seriousness as well, because, you know, it's super fucking awesome just to like hear characters, you know, go through character points and not just be like the typical tropey, you know, Power Rangers that we know and love from the 1990s, where 5 teenagers with attitude, Zordon summons typical stereotypes of the 90s. Red Ranger, the White Ranger, the Black Ranger, the black guy. God. But SPD was like super fucking awesome. With like how you get to have like a black guy as a Red Ranger, and he's a very good Red Ranger in SPD. And you get a lot of like good character arcs that a lot of like the Ranger team goes through, and it's super awesome. And going into like the Neo Saban era, the Nickelodeon era, with like Samurai and then moving everything on forward, it kind of just went a step down. Like, I forgot like what the essence is of a Power Rangers. It's not just like, you know, a lot handsome guys and cute gals in spandex and fighting off, stunt doubles. It's toys, duh. Yeah, basically it's just toys, just to sell like the toy market, but there's something more than just, you know, the toy market. It's about like, if you're watching a show, you're there to like, okay, this interests me, you know? And there are some shows that really take away the seriousness and gives you all the hokey. That's totally fine too. Like, I've started watching JoJo out of my friends' suggestions, and now I like JoJo because it doesn't take itself, to me it doesn't take itself super seriously, but it's super fun in all the right ways. With Neo Saban, in contrast, with all of the newer Power Rangers, minus the ones like Beast Morphers and Dino Fury, they try to ham themselves way the fuck too much, which is something I don't like. Like, Ninja Steel was super dull. It was very bread and butter. It was very bread and butter. It was very tropey, very tropey. Same thing with like Dino Charge. Same thing with like Megaforce. Oh god, Megaforce. Oh Jesus. A little bit of the same thing with Samurai, but yeah, Power Rangers didn't really slap for me back in the day, but now it kind of does. Now there's like good character arcs. Now there's like good moments. Now there's like not blaring music that's just totally blaring in your face, like the Faulkner DBZ score, you know? And so, in that period, I got into Super Sentai because I was super pissed of how Power Rangers was. And after that, I got into Kamen Rider, which is what I talked about with the Red and Blue Rider, and with Super Sentai with some of the newer ones, and then going backwards. And I became a Kamen Rider Super Sentai fan ever since. Favorite ones are always Gokaiger. Gokaiger's always, you know, #1. Fucking come on. I mean, like, come on, bros. Gokaiger with Captain Marvelous. Oh my god, man. Jesus. That man just, like, oozes charisma and oozes badassness, man. That's like, for me, S tier. And of course, there are other S tier Super Sentais. But Gokaiger really takes the cake because not only was it an anniversary season of 35 years of Super Sentai, but it was also like characters had arcs, like you want to root for them. They're not just like, yeah, motherfucking pirates. They're not like the usual, you know, I'm gonna go save the world. The peace of the world must be protected. No, they're fighting for treasure, and they're fighting to not let go of their dreams. I mean, let go of their dreams is something very tropey that you always see in like anime. Never give up your hope. Never give up on your dreams. But yeah, like Gokaiger's my favorite, and some other Super Sentais are pretty good as well, like the Thief Ranger, Lupin Ranger versus Pot Ranger, which was thieves versus police. I really like that a lot. There was also, what were some other good ones? Oh yeah, Ryu Soldier. That's the Dino Fury counterpart in Super Sentai. That one is super good. That one is cool. I like that. Now I'm digging into Zenkaiger, which is another anniversary season. So give it a shot whenever you get the chance, chat room. That's Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. It's up on Tokufan, and I'll provide the website right here so that you guys can see it. Toku.fun. It's a very awesome place. Like if you're a huge like Kamen Rider Super Sentai fan and just love the shit out of it like I do, this is a place where you can actually go to and watch Gokaiger Super Sentai in all the full seasons without going through hassles like very naughty websites like kissasian.sh or some shit. Which I sometimes go to because I want that super high poly 720p episodes of new Super Sentai Kamen Rider. I can't help it. But yeah. Anyway, so that's like the origin story. That's like my origins of coming into singles in Area 1. Want to meet you, bro. Bro. Oh Jesus. Alrighty, we're gonna get firewall breaches. Fuck. But yeah, Kamen Rider Saber, which is like the new Kamen Rider that just ended. Well, main storyline ended. It had a total of 46 episodes. And a lot of things went into my mind for Kamen Rider Saber. You know, I always liked new stuff. I always liked watching Kamen Riders on point as like the years went on. Every like Sunday there would always be like a new Kamen Rider, and I'm super excited on like where the story progresses in a KR. I did the same thing with ZO. I did the same thing with Zero One. I did the same thing with and now with Saber. So I just like that that Disney Plus. If we're going to be modern about it, that Disney Plus style of just releasing an episode every week and just anticipating, oh, what's going to be the next episode like what's going to be this or what's going to be that, you know? And you know, I was in like that phase. I was in like that honeymoon phase of Saber where I was super excited because of the suit's design. One of the main attributes of Kamen Rider Saber is that the suits in this new season were really cool. Like, I'll bring you up. That's how that be with anime. I kind of waiting weekly. Okay, yeah, waiting weekly. Yeah, with anime, it's like that for super hardcore anime fans. Whereas I'm like a super Kamen Rider Super Sentai fan, and Sundays are usually like One Piece days, or you know, Sunday's always One Piece. That's when you learn to read. The fuck does that mean? Ugh, jeez. That's when you learn to read. Oh man, Sundays are like reading or learning Japanese, and reading subtitles. But yeah, that's like that aspect of it. Like, it's kind of like that childhood vibe of just waking up Saturday in the morning, and you would always see 4Kids TV back when we were like 10, maybe 8 years old, and you would always see like 4Kids, like the 4Kids Saturday hour block on Channel 11, and there would just be, you know, Static Shock, Cubics, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Yu-Gi-Oh, which would come, like, I think around 10? Around 10? There was also, maybe Batman Animated? I think that was, like, later moved to Toonami, but you get what I mean, It's like that nostalgia, you know, anticipation hype that you get yourselves in. And for Saber, it was like that. And what drew me into Saber is that not only was it like a new, like, Saber, not only was it like a new KR, not only was it a new KR that I was super down for, but because of like the theming of it, like every Kamen Rider always has like a certain like transformation motif that they would always have throughout the show. Like last season was all about progress keys, like just about ID cards. The one before that was about stopwatches. This one was about books. But in this particular one, which was Saber, you normally see Kamen Riders going, you know, fisticuff hand to hand. There's never really like a full-blown weapon motif for a Kamen Rider, and that's what Saber was. Saber was all about, you know, the swords, the swordsmanship, and as like the rumors came on by, after like the trademarks came on by, after as like more information was later spread after that first trademark of Kamen Rider Saber, it started to get into more like Arthur and the Knights of Round type of vibe, you know? Like, everyone is like a knight of some kind, except for the main rider, of course. And, of course, talking about that, the riders themselves, they have interesting as fuck costume designs, where everyone has like the main suit, something has like a unique suit, you know, stuff like that. This suit in particular is what really like drew me into Kamen Rider, and it was the idea that like you have like a cape, and I'm a super hard on for like, you know, capes or like, you know, blazers that like go right next to like right next to the feet. When I saw like the full design of Kamen Rider Saber, and when I saw like the secondary riders and stuff like that, I was like, yo, damn, these things looking nice. That's the DMC fan in you. I know, right? Like, I do love stylish as fuck things. I do like those blazer shits. I do like those things where they just like, you know, those things where, you know, like you flow your majesty fucking cape and you just like walk around as like a total badass. Saber actually gave me those vibes of just like these types of capes of just like flowing in the wind and like interesting as fuck designs, and I love that shit, and I wanted to like know more. I think you're looking for Flutter in the Wind. That too. Flutter in the Wind is a really good, nice description for it. Flutter in the Wind is a really good description for it. And so I was super down on the design. And of course, like, I love, like, swords. And of course, that's also, with the chat is what's, with the chat where they are coming from, is that it's a very DMC thing about me. Like, I love, like, the swords. That's why I love, like, hack and slash so much. Is like, you get to beat people with your, like, big-ass swords, and, like, the main swords in Kamen Rider are, like, the default swords like these, the khaizakahn, something like that, you know? So I was, like, 100% down on Kamen Rider Saber, and I was, like, eagerly anticipating on, like, what the show is about, what the characters look like. I mean, of course, the cast of Kamen Rider Saber, you know, like with any Kamen Rider, is super, you know, handsome as fuck. Like, everybody in Kamen Rider is super handsome, except for their teeth. Their teeth is like, ugh, ooh, they got some crooked teeth. No, jokes aside. So it was very flashy. It had an interesting gimmick, which was about swords and books. Swords and books were like the main motif, and that played along with like the story when the producers and storyboard writers were coming up for Kamen Rider Saber. Is that what's a good toy that we can think of? We did progress keys, we did stopwatches. What is a good idea? Oh, let's go with like miniature like transformation books, because you know, kids love books. Kids really love books. I think so. Yeah, right? Do kids love books nowadays? I'm not sure. I would assume so, because, you know, Japan's like, you know, all about that type. All depends. I don't think they know what paper is. Sad but true. Yeah, I guess so. Sad but true. I guess, like, they love, like, the wonder of it or something like that. It's all digital. Pretty much. All digital books. But storyboard writers were, like, thinking about, like, transformation trinkets of, like, Japanese kids might... Yeah, definitely. Japanese kids might be thinking that, like, oh, storyboard... books can be pretty interesting. I see, like, I give my kids, like, storybook books. I read them bedtime stories. That was the thing. Trying to draw on that motif of like, oh, we send our kids to bed and we read them bedtime stories. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the idea. That's where the inspiration came up. Yeah. American kids all have the iPhone 1000s by like the age of 5. Oh. I want to say that's not true. I want to say maybe that's just a worrying fever dream, but it could happen. God, that could happen. But yeah, books and swords were like the main motif, or like the main gimmicks for Kamen Rider Saber. And that played along with the story, which the story was for Kamen Rider Saber is that the main dude this guy, he was just an aspiring author, or an aspiring writer. and he owns a he owns a bookshop called Tomiyama Wonder. Forgot what was that name? I'm gonna be looking up the Kamen Rider Saber wiki. Like, where was it? I know he owns like a bookstore. Oh, Fantastic Bookstore Kamiyama. Yeah, that was it. Fantastic Bookstore Kamiyama. That's the name of his bookstore, in which he owns and operates and runs. And he was like gifted by a touch of destiny that he like met this special girl named Luna, and along with his other childhood friend named Kento, they were triplets of friends until a certain event happened, which was reality like distorted, and the real world got connected to a place called Wonder World, which was a place of, you know, wonder. Quote like SpongeBob from that one episode, imagination. Yep, that one. And so real world was connected to Wonder World, and like some bad guys were like trying to like erase the real world with like Wonder World, and try to get the omniscient tome. Like, they're basically like trying to get like a super Bible of some kind. The world book connected by like the world's tree or some shit, you know? Some hokey ass mythological bloodline by that. And so what happened is that Luna got sucked into the Wonder World, and Toma made a promise to see her again no matter what. And that's been like that since his adult years, until he actually reconnected back to Wonder World and was connected to the Sword of Logos, which was the organization run by sword members of the guild, who are sworn to protect the world from the dangers of the Medjit, evil spirits, evil book spirits that want to take over the world and replace it with Wonder World, led by 3 generals, Storius, Zuos, and Legiel. And those 3 bad guys would be like the the main bad guys throughout the Kamen Rider series, and all 3 of them meet their ends throughout the series. So that's there. And of course there was a traitor within the guild who intentionally brought open the Wonder World to the real world, and his name was Kamen Rider Caliber. And Kamen Rider Caliber was like, he used to be a Sword of Logos member, but betrayed the guild for quote-unquote power. And so that was like the premise of Kamen Rider Saber. And in that sense, Toma becomes Kamen Rider Saber to save the world by being a writing novelist but swordsman. And allies definitely do come to his aid, like one person, right? The secondary rider, Kamen Rider Blades. He is, and each of the riders, by the way, which I'll explain to a little bit, they're all based around, you know, elemental motifs. They're all based around elemental motifs of the riders. So this guy is basically the fire swordsman. While the secondary rider is based on water. And there are others like lightning, earth, wind, darkness, light. Then there's one which was like smoke, and the other one which was like teleportation, something like that. I don't know if that counts as an element, but technically does, I don't know. And then there's one for like sound, which I guess that makes up an element? Something like that? A natural force or something? But but yeah, that's the secondary writer, and that's Rintaro Shindo, and he was a member of the Sword and Logos by birth, so he trained under the master of the previous Kamen Rider Blades and followed under his footsteps, and he is a sworn defender of peace and justice. So very typical sounding like hero. He will defend the peace of our realm. Which I gotta say, Kamen Rider Saber is pretty much like in the hokey category because, you know, it's nothing like unique about Saber because every Kamen Rider is about, you know, saving the world from dickheads. But these guys like preach about, you know, the world needs saving or the world needs destruction. So very, very anime-esque. Very anime-esque, I'll give it that, you know. Which, you know, is nothing to like bash the shit out of. It just gets very tiresome through and through. Do we sometimes hate it? But it depends on the show's material. Do I like it? Sometimes. But is it a good running on point? I guess so. I guess so, because it's used often. Save the world. Does the world need saving? The world needs saving from darkness. We must save this planet's, this world's treasures. Something like that. Stay still. Stay still, Blades. Stay still. I guess you'll stay like that. Yeah, I guess you'll stay like that. But yeah, that's the premise of the show, and the show will get later on. The show, and that's the premise of the show. So after that, the series will divulge into like different arcs, because that's how like Kamen Rider kind of was. Because they have to like span the series within like a whole year. They're not like your usual anime like 13 episodes or 26 episodes. The studio takes a break, and then by a year or a year and a half later, then the next season happens. No, they do all of the episodes even during like Christmas time, which is by contrast something that Power Rangers doesn't usually do, because, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, summer vacation, they're like paid holidays. They're like vacations. So Super Sentai fans get to Super Sentai, or Kamen Rider works like overtime, feels like, in contrast to Power Rangers. But the show divides the plot into arcs, and the arcs have a significance to them. Like the first arc, which is like the first 13, which is the first like 13 episodes or like 20, is where Caliber is like the main antagonist, and Caliber was hidden because he was like the anonymous villain that doesn't usually show his face because he wants his identity to remain a secret. But he does get revealed as like he's the main dude who was the master of the previous flame sword that Toma has. He became Caliber for some unknown reason, which later found out to be that that he was trying to play Caliber just to find the true traitor of the organization. Like there was some fuckface McGee that just literally wanted to destroy the world because he wanted the power of the grand book, the grand omniscient tome. And that gets expanded until like 20 episodes. We get introduced to riders such as the Yellow Rider Espada, who is childhood friends to Kamiyama Toma. Then we get introduced to Big Papa Daddy, which is Kamen Rider Basta, And if I could show you the design, maybe. I don't think I could show it here because it's mine, because I don't have like a display capture source. But Kamen Rider Buster is a fucking beefcake ass of a beefcake dude. He is a daddy of a 10-year-old, and he is the Earth Swordsman. Then there's Kamen Rider Kenzan, an arrogant little fuckface boy, but grows over time. You start to get annoyed by his little shits that because he says the true way of battle is by strength, and I'm gonna beat ass however I can. And he gets a little bit annoying. he does get a little bit annoying, but I do like his charisma. But I do like his growth throughout the series. And then there's the Sword of Logos' mechanic, who is called Kamen Rider Slash. Literally called him Slash. No other sword names, no nothing. Let's give him the phonic sound of the action, the verb of a sword swinging through something. Let's call him Slash. And he is the swordsmith's mechanic, Tetsuo Daishinji, and Hua. And those are the main riders. Those are the main riders as of the Caliber arc. And a lot of shit goes down, like Caliber gets introduced. Toma finds out about his past. Rintaro is struggling. Rintaro is struggling to beat his arch nemesis. You know, wonderful character arcs, right? And mysterious agendas and motives that keep you guessing. Oh, what happens to this character? What happens to that? It's like, I like that shit. I like that shit. It keeps you in suspense. And some shit goes down, like Kento with his quote-unquote death at the hands of Caliber. Then these two then Toma and Rintaro get their super forms, which is not Crimson Dragon, but they do get power super forms, and their super forms. They get like Dragonic Knight and King Lion Daisenki. Cool ass designs, by the way, which but this is a Dragonic Knight, which is like his first Ultra, which is his first super form that he gets, which is, it's like a knight in shining armor motif. And that's the Blue Rider super form, which, Chad, if you're Digimon fans, you get like a super glee out of this, because you know what this looks like? This looks like, who's that fuckface in season 1 of Digimon? Metal Garurumon. The metal dog with like rockets and like arm cannons and shit. It definitely does like give you that vibe of Metal Garurumon. Kamen Rider Caliber is quote-unquote defeated or backstabbed by a Megid freelancer by the name of Disaster. And he's just like another fuckface that just wants to be free. I'm free from my shackles. I want something that's like, you know, entertain me. I want something that's like, you know, entertain me, you know? Shit like that. And then we get to the next arc, which is like the Saikyo arc. What's the arc called? What is the arc called? Oh, so it starts at like 16, but it's like the Betrayer arc, or like the Sword of Logos arc, which is what they call it, because now it's like you start to see in this arc some of the shadier shit that goes down with the Sword of Logos, because in Sword of Logos there's like the northern base and the southern base, both make up the Sword of Logos, and the northern base is headed by a woman by the name of Sophia, who is this priestess chick that runs the operations and is the head manager of the northern base of operations for Sword of Logos. And she was kidnapped by an unknown assailant who later is a female rider by the name of Reika Shindai, and she is the smoke user. She is the smoke user of of the sword riders, and she is like doing her deeds because her master tells her to separate the group and take the swords and Wonder Ride books of everybody around them. That includes Kamiyama Toma, which he says no, he'll keep them around because, you know, I need to save the world. I need to save the world protected by shithead monsters. And what follows in suit is kind of like one of my weakest arcs in Kamen Rider Saber, and that's like, you have this like super elegant, super cryptic, but super important woman telling everybody except Toma, well, she did tell Toma, but Toma refused, but telling everybody that like, Toma is going to gain power, so you better steal his fucking swords and Wonder Ride books, shitheads, otherwise you're gonna be fired. And so they follow her. And they have like a whole squabble with Toma, who is just like, you did not believe me when I had my final showdown with Caliber at Wonderworld? You did not believe me? It's like one of my weakest points because like none of them were like smart enough because, you know, they're sword members. They're bound by oath. I guess that's like one of the reasons by it is like, you know, I think it's like swordsman creed is that they follow the oaths of their master, or they follow their creed and they cannot betray anything else. That's especially the case with like Rintaro, the blue dude, who is like was born into the creed by birth through adolescence, through adulthood, that the Sword of Logos is like family, but he cannot see that the Sword of Logos is doing some sketchy shit. All because, like, the Sword of Logos is like his family. But then he starts to realize, you know, there's more to family than just, you know, an organization. And we get introduced to another rider who helps out Toma, which is Kamen Rider Saber, and he's literally a sword. That's the funniest shit I've ever seen and felt, is that another rider is like an actual fucking sword. Like, I shit you not, he becomes a sword, and then he has a shadow form, which like is just like a bodysuit, a stunt double, and he is the sword, so he commands the shadow to do like weird acrobatic horseshit until he gets like a final form of him, which is called Psycho X Swordsman, that he becomes the swordsman and out of the swords. It's like fucking weird and fucking hokey, but you gotta love it and appreciate that. And let's see. And then Toma gets like another form, which is, I think it's a very typical Kamen Rider motif, is that they get their uncontrolled or like berserk forms. And for Toma, it's dubbed Primitive Dragon, which contains like the spirit of a lone boy who's like alone, super alone, and nobody talks to him until Toma becomes that one friend and talks to this little boy and gets like a super form that's like a powered up version of Primitive Dragon, which was Primitive Elemental Dragon. And the suit design for that one looks cool. Like, yeah, right here. This is Kamen Rider Saber Elemental Dragon. So the Primitive Dragon is like, he goes into berserk form because, you know, it's like the cloud and dirty thoughts of this one shithead boy that occupies that book. But Elemental Dragon is like the savior, kind soul dragon that saves him, that saves a little boy, and just like gives him compassion. Some storyline shit like that. But the rider form looks pretty dope. Like, it's got like the unique aesthetics of Primitive Dragon, which Primitive Dragon is like a skeletal bone dragon, while Flame Dragon is like the spirit and soul of a dragon. and they like merge together to become this fucking thing, which is really cool. It's like it's just like a fiery, hotter version of Saber, and I really love the shit out of it. He uses like all of the elements together to do elemental attacks, hence elemental dragon. And yeah, it's just the suits get more upgraded as like the episodes go on by. But we'll get to see like one flaw suit, like, which in my opinion doesn't look really good. My opinion doesn't look really good. But Kamen Rider Saber, after that arc, then goes into the Master of Logos arc, which the true culprit behind like the merging of the real world and the Wonder World is Digbag Master Logos. And which is funny because like the actor for Master Logos is actually Shinken Gold of Power Ranger Samurai, or Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. And it's so weird seeing this like cute this Jubilee gullible happy son of a bitch being like a power hungry asshole and just like wrecks everybody's shop. And so his whole motivation behind him becoming a villain is that, you know, there's no change. There's no change with the world. Every damn day there's a war. There's always some scuffle. There's always some shithead stealing my Skittles. So we gotta stop stealing. I'm sick of this world of people just like stealing Skittles from each other, and I'm just gonna nuke the fucking world and recreate it in my own image. That's his whole plot line. He will use whatever it takes to recreate the world under his own image, and betrays even his own organization because he hates his own creed. Nothing but stupid old farts that are just like safeguarding the world and doesn't offer any change to like actual peace. So again, it's like hokiness on top of hokiness. Like, it's very tropiness on top of tropiness. You get what I mean? Like, it's so... We've heard these lines and beats before. We've heard some assface who like thinks himself of a god, and he's doing the right thing of like just recreating the world. So it's a little eh. But that asshole is gone because, you know, Toma gets the power of friendship and bonds and resolution and dreams and whatnot, and becomes the ultimate form, which I will say the weakest design of Saber. And this is Kamen Rider Saber Cross Saber, just a glitter glider horseshit mode of his base form, which I thought was really weak. I know there was like a behind the scenes reason behind this, but it's still like the weakest one because it's just a blue cyan like galaxy covered version of his base form, and I don't really like that. I like to see something new, but in a way it's alright, I guess. I don't know, like it's super bland, but at the same time it's like kind of new. It doesn't speak new form to me. Anyway, after the Master Logos, whose his real name was revealed to be Isaac, then comes the Stortius arc, which is the main general behind the Medjit, Stortius, acquires the power of Master Logos' form, who was a evil rider at the show, which was Kamen Rider Solomon, and steals his power and becomes Kamen Rider Stortius, the main bad guy of Kamen Rider Saber. And his whole shtick is that another tropey-ass thing. You know, I must acquire the Omniscient Tome because the Omniscient Tome's fate for me is that it was all scripted. I never really became enamored with the world and desired to write poems or stories. They were just all scripted. I never had real ingenuity before. So fuck the world, I'm gonna destroy it all. Yeah, it's... yeah, it's... but Kamen Rider Storius becomes super hellbent on power and wants to destroy the world, says like fuck it all, and revives 4 mega assholes like the Lords of Wise, which were like the sages that Isaac killed prior to his ascension as Master Logos. And god damn, man, this trophy shit. And of course, everybody prepares for their final battle. Storius builds like a Tower of Babel type of thing, which we've seen in other Kamen Riders before. And they prepare for their final showdown. Everybody gets jacked up by Storius and the Megid and the 4 Lords, and Toma endures it all and gets to Storius, and by the power of his best friend Luna and his other friends, who Luna was like grown up, she returned because of the bridge of between Wonderworld and the real world. She made it back. She connected to Toma and made a ultimate form of his powers called Wonder Almighty, the Wonder Almighty Wonder Ride book, and became Saber Almighty, which is again another base form. But this one was unique because, you know, like in Zero One, this final form was a representation of the character's resolves and resolutions, whereas in Zero One, he did some fucked up shit as like a young president, almost murdered a robot in a world where robots and humans were to intersect together in harmony. Whereas in Saber, is that it's by the power of friends was like his final form, and he whoops the shit out of Storius and everything is returned back to normal. He was supposed to have died there because, you know, final revelation of Kamiyama Toma is that he's supposed to die once all the shit's been done. Once shit hits the fan, he's done. He's never going to do anything else. He will stay in Wonderworld forever. He will never return to the real world with his friends. But by some miraculous fate, at the very series' main canonical ending, he comes back by the power and prayers of everybody wishing for stories and whatnot. And he comes back. And happily ever after. Happily ever after. Oh god, that pun. God, because of the storybook motif. I get it. I get it. But yeah, that's Kamen Rider Saber. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff, right? Like, Blades' final form? Oh yeah, Blades' final form. Oh yeah! Blades, Tatagami Hyojun Seki, which is... Ah, this one. Oh yes. Oh yes, I love this form. I love this form, chat room. Oh my god. This was Tatagami Hyojun Senki, and it's like an ice variant of Kamen Rider Blades. So they replaced all the blues. They kept like the light blues on his gloves and his chest plate and his visor, but everything else is like white, and he gets like a lion's mane at the back and has access to like ice-based attacks based on the attributes of his previous masters. Like, there's a wind ice attack, there's a, I think, fire ice attack. I don't know. Don't explain to me how that shit works, it just happens, but it looks cool. Wind, lightning, sea, land ice attack, something like that, but it's a really sick looking form. It's a really sick looking form, you know? And it shows like the resolve of Rintato's character because, you know, after like the Sword of Logos arc, he feels betrayed because, you know, this is not what the organization stands for, which was to protect the peace of the Earth realm. No, because Master Logos is a fuckery, he feels betrayed and wants to leave Sword of Logos through the actions of Toma and everybody else that wants to fight for justice. And so he gets the resolve back with his Tatagami Shouju Senki. And it's really cool looking. There is also, yeah, fuckface McGee. Oh god, yeah, this fucking bastard, just a dickhead who wants to restart the world. It's literally just what is it? There's a retrained version of this, which is Jao Dragon, and that's this one. Kamen Rider Solomon is just a reused asset of this suit's design, which was introduced first in the Caliber arc, where Caliber got like a mega form of his suit, which was Jao Dragon. And it's literally like evil Emperor Lord Caliber with like a cape, some more purple variants, the big red visor on top of his in front of his mask, and then like mini dragons around his shoulders, because Jao Dragon is about, you know, like multiple dragons in the power of darkness. And that was pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Like, Caliber has that aesthetic to him. Like, it's a very cool looking design. But when you look at like Saber in contrast, this just looks like another version of Caliber. Like, if we're going to the eye doctors right now, look at number 1 and then number 2. Number 1, number 2. Which one is better? Which one is better? But yeah, Solomon is just like a retrained version of Caliber, and that's kind of disappointing. Kamen Rider Storius, which is did that open up over? Nope. Here you go. There you go. Kamen Rider Storius. Another retrained version. Now that I look at it, another retrained version of fucking Jao Dragon. It's just with the shoulder plates from fucking Solomon to here. Yeah, those are some dope costumes. I get it. But I'm kind of like the weird one where I was looking for some uniqueness with these costumes and just not like retooled assets from like one costume over the other. It's just only the headpiece, which was very authentic to Storius, because Storius is a Medjit, and Storius is a Medjit form. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Fuck, I forgot. Yeah, this is Storius' Medjit form. It has like the monster design motif that has like the blazers right here. It's a cool looking monster suit, and it has like the fucked up head, which you normally see in like Kamen Rider Super Sentai. Just its ugly bastard looking face. But yeah, like, that's Storius. And I'll give like credit to where credit is due. Now that we're done with like the spoilery aspects of Kamen Rider Saber, there are some cool like suit designs for Saber. Like, this one looks really dope. This one, well, some are not so much. Like this one, because this is just a base form. This is just a base form, but retooled with galaxy designs. Tatagami Hyoju Senki is really dope. Jao Dragon, when you first look at it, is very menacing, but also cool at the same time. So I really dig that aspect about it. It's really cool looking. So I'll give it credit to where credit is due. Someone did like an unboxing. You can't see it, but I can see it. But this is Buster, so it's pretty much like Earth-based rider with like very... It kind of looks very mechanically, but his Wonder Ride book is about like a legendary tortoise. So this is like tortoise Earth armor. And he has like a Buster sword on his back. So that makes up for his weapon. Ah, there he is. This design looks dope. This is Kamen Rider Kenzan, which is the Wind Ninja Rider, and he uses the power of wind to slay his foes. Which, by the way, Ren Akamichi, which is Kenzan's real name, he goes through an arc in this one, and that is, you know how I said earlier, you know, me value strength, so strength important, not power of trust. Power of trust bad, but then after losing so many times and seeing his close friend die, which was Kento and his mentor, he becomes more resolved. And after killing his other friend Disaster, who was, you know, sniffing him around, like, Disaster's whole reason for hanging around with Kenzan is that he smells like a monster, so I'ma stick with this bitch. And so he sticks with him through and through until his ending, where he gets betrayed by Stories and wants to be a free Megid, but Kenzan has to kill him because after Stories' scuffle, after he and Stories' scuffle, Disaster fades away and never to be seen again. So Kenzan Ren becomes more nobler. Like, he now understands what strength really means, instead of just, you know, bragging about strength like a little shithead. That's her. Where is it? Ah, right here. So many tabs open, it's hard to like navigate which one because they're all letters and numbers. But this is Sabella. This is the female rider who uses smoke, and she uses like a rapier weapon, which was funny because on the day that she first transformed, on Japan I think, or was it like a national holiday, that it was International Women's Day. And so this henshin was like super impactful because you never see a lot of like female riders in Kamen Rider a lot. There are only like a few. Most of like the female roles in KR are just like muddied down to like supporting actresses that help out the main rider. They're never like, you know, the type of fighter gal that like likes to fight her own battles or likes to fight for her own resolves, shit like that. So I think it was very cool that they're adding more female riders. I hope they do that in Revice. This other fuckface, yeah. He is the brother of the smoke user Reika, and he uses like a trident as a weapon. Not really a sword, which is by some small estimation that like maybe they were like going off hands here. Maybe they're just like, I don't know what we're doing with the series right now, so let's just add something very unique. But I guess like a trident or like a long like Nagenta pole is kind of used for like guarding or something like that. But I dig it. I hate his like character. It's like Kamen Riders, like especially in Saber, they know how to make you hate certain characters, like certain villains. Like you just want them to like get cut off, and they really do that here. They really make that here with like Durandal, this Espada. So he is the Lightning Rider and has the Wonder Ride book that contains the essence of Aladdin, Lampto Alagina, so genie in a bottle. Very fitting. And he goes through like certain transformations, like he becomes Espada, then he becomes Caliber by the possession of the Sword of Darkness, then he gets like a powered up form, which is this. What the fuck? Oh, that would be super sick if we got like this form. Yo, if we got like this form in the main series, oh my god, I would love to potentially see this in a Kamen Rider like spin-off, because that's what's ultimately going to go down with like Saber and all the other like Kamen Riders, is that, you know, they're gonna get like super badass forms like these, like fan imagery things like these, and make them official forms and make them canonical in some way. I would love to see that. But where's this form? Yeah, this is like the official canon form that Espada got, which is like all three yellow books, which in the Caliber arc, the three main riders, Saber, Blades, and Espada, get like amped up versions of their base forms by combining Wonder Ride books of similar color. So this is like yellow, and for Espada this is golden Alagina, which is like Cerberus, Hedgehog, and Lamp. Then there's get rid of this cool fanfic. Blades, where's this one. Then this is Blades with Fantastic Lion. So 3 blue colored books. So Pegasus. No, this is Peter Pan, Lion, and Pegasus. And then there's Saber. Saber's where is he? Right here. And then this is Saber, so all red. So this is Dragon, Eagle, and Sayu Journey. But yeah, all in all, right? I'm showing off these designs because all in all, Kamen Rider Saber has really dope looking designs. And this is like the most, in my opinion, the stylish Kamen Rider to date. I know there are like some other ones out there, but this is like by far the most coolest designs I've seen in the Kamen Rider as of yet. They got interesting, unique looking designs to them. Their designs fit like a purpose to them. They fit their characters. They fit their motifs. They fit their attributes. Like, I really like the suit designs overall of Kamen Rider Saber, and they're super fucking fantastic. Like, I just want to see more forms, see more badass forms of Kamen Rider Saber in the near future. I just don't know when. I don't know what new villains or what spin-offs they could do, but I'm very much optimistic of like what new installations for Saber is. Despite some despite some story grievances, despite some things that are like played out, like this happened, and there's like the horrible arc, which I considered like the betrayal arc. I hate that one. It's like literally what someone said to me was like, he said, she said, and I really don't like that one still. It makes sense, but I don't like that one still. I don't like the motivations behind like characters, even though they're cool, but it gets too tropey. Like I said, like save the world, right? It just gets tossed around so damn much that it becomes uninteresting at some point. It's like an anime where it like throws out, I gotta save the world, and we gotta protect this world's treasures. Literally nothing original. Like, it's not like W, where I'm gonna count your sins, or like I'm just a passerby detective, just all cool, like. Or like Wizard, where it's like, I'm gonna protect your last hope. And it does get tropey too. I mean, of course, they get too tropey, but I feel like Saber's writing gets a little bit too like generic. It gets too like bread and buttery. It's very flowcharty, I just don't like that at all. But then again, who am I to judge? That's like my opinion. I'm sure other people that watched Kamen Rider Saber had a different interpretation than I did. So, to each their own. To each their own. I just like their suit designs, and I just like the cool character arc moments about each and every Kamen Rider. I like the shit out of the suit. I like the shit out of like the henshins and the finishers and whatnot. I know this isn't like the last episode of Kamen Rider Saber. I say that because, I feel like that's the last episode, but there's going to be another very, very last episode of Kamen Rider Saber, and that's gonna be an epilogue one. Where the epilogue ones is where Kamen Rider kind of tends to do this thing of like, you know, near the end of like the August timeline and into September is when Tokusatsu or Toei starts to push for the new Kamen Rider, and we gotta get the shit out every September. So the next one will be Kamen Rider Revice, which is what you guys see like here. This is the main riders, my both left and rights. The new Kamen Riders are going to be debuting September 5th, and so I'm going to be taking a look at that, and I'm going to be doing a review on that. But Kamen Rider does tend to do like epilogue chapters of shits, epilogue chapters of new Kamen Riders that will be unveiled later on. And so the next episode will just be like showcasing the next rider and whatnots and what they do and how they act and how they do stuff like that until like the main series comes out. What else? But yeah, like Kamen Rider Saber, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I did like some things. I didn't like other things, but overall it was like a fun series. I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's cool, like designs are what really kept me going for Kamen Rider. Its characters are also pretty good, but I don't like the generic tropiness that came with Kamen Rider Saber. And of course, you know, they got some cool designs and cool deluxe toys, which is all are what Kamen Rider Super Sentai or Tokusatsu are. They're literally there just to sell you toys. Like, someone at like Toei was like thinking up for Saber is like, oh, how can we make like these toys that revolve around like sabers, like just literally like slashing people and shit, and make them unique that kids will love, but not like influenced by violence, even though Kamen Rider can have some violent elements. Let's make them swords, but combine them with books. And that's literally what that is. But yeah, that's it for Kamen Rider Saber. Hope you guys enjoyed that real talk, or that review. We're gonna be doing Kamen Rider Revice, the first episode, not the epilogue chapter, because I don't think we should do that one. We could do like a small talk, but maybe just not. I think we'll just do like a first episode reaction review. Well, not reaction, because I'm not too sure how Toei handles on YT and what are the potential copyright stuff on that. So let's not do that. Let's just do like a review. But yeah, hella good series, 7 out of 10. Can't wait for Revice. So yeah, I look forward to it.